For the first 18 months of running my tutoring business, literally no one knew me. No one who knew I was. When I posted free trials, no one cared because I had no backing behind me. And with one small shift of this one key idea, and in a matter of a couple of months, I went from someone who no one knew to a genuine force in the marketplace. What I mean by that is that everyone knew me for the subject that I taught. Everyone knew me about as the person who was the guy in the tutoring space. Now, I'm not saying any of this in a bragging way. All I'm saying is that the one principle that I'm about to run through in this video took me from someone who no one knew to someone who people recognized as the person to go to. And that allowed me to not chase people to join me. It allowed me to rather get people around me, and then a select few of them were allowed to join my business. That's the shift that we should be aiming to make with our marketing for our tutoring businesses. And this is the shift that you should be aiming to make. You should be aiming to be someone who attracts other people to come to you, rather than someone who's always manually reaching out to others. So the one principle I'm going to run through in this video, I'm going to break it down in really solid detail. Literally took me from someone who no one knew to someone who everyone recognized as the tutor in my space. And by the way, I'm not going to run through a super crazy concept. It's something that has been involved in sales for literally thousands of years, but it's something that needs to be applied to the tutoring space as well. And you might have not tried it because you don't see a lot of tutors actually doing this trick or doing this method. But what I'm going to do in this video is just run through exactly what this principle is and how I implemented it specifically in the tutoring space, so you can implement it to get more students in as well. What we're going to do is we're going to start with a quick analogy, and we're going to compare 3 different tutors and their marketing methods. So we're going to start off with tutor A. Tutor A is literally someone who just posts on Facebook in forums, and they just post this poster style ad. And it just has their testimonials, it has their accolades, it has their achievements, and it has a call to action that might say like book a free trial now. So I'm just going to say CTA for call to action. Now, tutor A, how many leads does he get? Or how many leads does she get? Probably not that many. And this is probably what you're doing right now. You're just posting in these forums, expecting people to join you, but they have no incentive to join you. You're just someone who's posting exactly the same as everyone else. And if we compare tutor A to tutor B, let's say, tutor B is doing exactly the same thing. Tutor B is just posting this poster style ad and is competing with tutor A and all these other tutors that are doing exactly the same thing. Why should someone listen to tutor A over tutor B? Why should someone listen to tutor B over tutor A? What people tell themselves, and what lots of tutors have told me, is, oh, my scores are really good, I teach really well, my skills and achievements are really outstanding. Literally anyone can make their achievements sound really good. Anyone can make their scores sound really good. Everyone has a small differentiating factor. In the grand scheme of things, is not doing anything. In the grand scheme of things, those, let's say, achievements are not huge factors when it comes to someone joining a tutoring service. If someone gets, let's say, a 99 ATAR versus a 98 ATAR, if someone's aiming for a 50 ATAR, it's not going to really make that much of a difference. If someone's on track to get a 50 ATAR, do you reckon they care about if someone's got a 98 or a 99? Not really, because they're in the ballpark of what they're trying to achieve. So don't think that your scores are going to get you more clients. Don't think that posting your accolades are going to get you more clients. Don't think posting your degree that you got into is going to get you more clients, because it might get you a little bit, it might get your foot in the door a bit more, but it's not genuinely going to separate you from everyone else out there. What you need to do is you need to implement the principle that I like to call the value mountain, which I'm going to run through in a second. Now, what we're going to do is just evaluate this tutor C that we have right here. So tutor C, instead of doing a poster ad, what this person does is they give out some sort of free value through, let's say, a PDF. So they're giving out a free value through some sort of PDF. Hey, attempt this worksheet, try out this practice exam, see how you go with it. Then after that PDF, then they give out some sort of free video that, again, gives them some value. So the video might run through that exam, or it might go through a concept, or it might be some advice for someone going into year 12, something along those lines. So video, and we're just going to say it's some sort of value. So what the tutor C has done is no strings attached, given a PDF with heaps of free value, given a video out with heaps of free value, and then after that, there's a call to action that, let's say, book a free trial now. What tutor C has done compared to tutor A and B is tutor C has built up goodwill. with this client because this tutor C has given this value without actually expecting anything in return from this particular student. Tutor C has just done this out of the kindness of his or her heart. With an ulterior motive, which is not necessarily a bad thing, it's just a twofold benefit of someone knowing about them and building up the goodwill with that tutor, and the tutor building up the goodwill with the lead and building a connection with that lead as well. This is actually what sells. This is what separates people in a competitive marketplace. It's not having better skills, it's not having better accolades, it's not having better resources, it's literally nurturing the lead that comes in contact with you. If you can find out a way, or if you can figure out how to nurture your leads better than everyone else, that is going to get you more clients compared to everyone else. Because literally I see hardly any tutors doing this in the marketplace. I implemented it when I was a tutor and it worked great. I was talking about it in my videos. I went from 5 to 50 students. That's no exaggeration. I literally had hardly any students because I did not have a marketing strategy. I tried this out and it literally worked straight away. And when I say this, when I said I tried this out, it's literally what I'm about to run through in this video. There's nothing hidden here. I'm going to tell you exactly the marketing strategy that you can use with your business to make sure your leads are nurtured, to make you more like tutor C that's built up the goodwill rather than tutor A and B, which are just competing in a competitive marketplace without any way of separating themselves from the competition. The principle that I use is something that I like to call the value mountain. Now, the value mountain essentially suggests that a lead starts at the bottom where they've received no value from you. The lead starts at the bottom because they received no value from you. You are essentially useless to them. And when they're at the bottom, when you have provided no value to them, there's no incentive for them to join you after a free trial. There's no incentive for them to join you because you just posted a post ad with your skills and your accolades. There's no reason for them. There's no incentive. If it weren't a competitive marketplace, then sure. If you have the skills that someone needs, and if they need that, then there's no reason for them to question it. But if you have 20,000, that's a bit of an exaggeration. Let's say you have 20 different tutors that you're trying to compete with and they're doing exactly the same thing, then why should someone listen to you over someone else? Why should someone join a free trial or join you after a free trial if 20 other tutors are giving them free trials? That's what you have to think about. You have to think about things from the student's perspective. So this is what's so eye-opening about this. Because what you realize is that literally hardly any tutoring companies and hardly any tutors are doing this. But it genuinely works. And I guess what people ask me is, why don't tutors actually do this? It's probably just not that well known. It's probably one tutor started off with one marketing method, which was just the tutor A and B poster method, and everyone else just copied that because they saw the tutors doing it around them and they thought it might work. But this is genuinely and like scientifically proven, because this is how sales works. This has been proven from a psychological perspective to actually work. Now, the lead starts at the bottom, and giving them value like tutor C did brings them up the mountain, brings them up the value mountain, because you've given them value, you give them more value, and you give them even more value. And they get to the top of the mountain, which is here, of course, and what we'd call them primed for closing once they get to the top of the mountain. What does primed for closing mean? It essentially means that we've maximized their possibility of being converted. If a lead is just at the bottom of the mountain, it's a very low percentage of them being converted. There's a very low likelihood of them actually joining as a paying client. It might be something in the ballpark of, let's say 5%. Could be anywhere from 1 to 5% in that rough range. I'm just making up figures right now, but it'll be very, very low. If someone goes through the process of receiving value from you, receiving even more value, and receiving even more value after that, then they're going to be in a position where you've built up goodwill with them. And if you're genuinely good, then it's very likely that it's very likely that they're going to join. I'm just going to have some water real quick. I'm giving out so much knowledge. I'm talking too fast. Now, if someone gets to the top of this mountain, then it's very likely that the conversion rate is going to be roughly 50%. That's from my experience, and that's traditional in the coaching space, quote unquote. A tutor is essentially in the coaching space. So if you're a tutor, you essentially coach. That is pretty typical for the coaching space, about a 50% conversion rate. That is really good. Imagine every 1 out of every 2 leads that you get on call with are people that are actually going to be joining your service. That's an awesome conversion rate. So we should be aiming for that. Now, it's about bringing them up the value mountain, but it's actually doing it in a very strategic way, which I'm going to run through in this video. Now, if you try to pitch to someone before clients actually get to know you and they actually get to the top of the mountain, then you actually have not accumulated enough goodwill. As I talked about before, if you don't accumulate this goodwill, then there's no reason for a client to join you over another service. Now, what I talked about in the Tutor C example was someone just receiving a PDF, receiving a free video, and you might be thinking, hey, this is all just free stuff. What if I just get a bunch of freeloaders? What if I get a bunch of people who are just looking for free resources and they're just using me for free resources? Now that's definitely going to happen. I'm not going to lie to you. That is definitely going to happen. There's going to be a lot of people who are just looking at you for free resources. Happens all the time. Of course, if you give out something for free, someone sees the word free and they see something that relates to the topic that they're struggling with, and of course they're going to use it. So you just have to have trust in the process that there's going to be a small portion of those people that receive that free thing that are genuine buyers, or people that could be genuine buyers. And of course, you're going to get a lot of other people that you have to sift out, and that's part of the process as well. This value mountain concept is a small concept in a bigger topic, which is essentially just sales funnels in the tutoring space. You have to have your funnel built up in a certain way that it sifts out those people who are just freeloaders, and it only allows people who aren't to progress through with you to even get the opportunity for, let's say, a free trial class, or to even jump on a call with you. Topic for another video though. Now, if someone gets all these pieces of value, don't think of them as free, right? Even if they cost no money, they are not free. People pay with time. If someone watches a video of you and it's a 20-minute video, they're spending 20 minutes of their time essentially with you. That's the social media day and age that we live in, where if someone watches a 20-minute video of you, it feels as if you're talking to them for 20 minutes. If you've been watching this video for, I think it's about 10 minutes so far, roughly, you've essentially spent 10 minutes with me. It's just virtually. It feels the same from the lead's perspective. It doesn't feel like it for me because I'm recording this video, because I've recorded this video prior to posting it, I edited it, and then I posted it to you. But you're watching this video in real time. You're literally listening to this video right now, and you're watching this video right now, and it feels as if I'm talking to you live, which essentially I am, because you're watching this video right now. But that's besides the point. People pay with time because they spend time with you and they're getting value out of that time that they're spending. It is still transactional. People still give commitment to do something. If someone books a free trial class, I don't like using the word free for that type of concept. It is, let's say if someone books a call with you, they are showing some form of commitment because they've booked a time with you and they told you that they're going to be booked out for that time because they're reserving it to talk to you. Or if someone gives you their email to get a bunch of free PDFs, they've put through some sort of commitment because they've given you their email. They've given you their contact information for you to give them free value. That is the idea behind the value mountain, that things are not necessarily free, even if they have zero money associated with it. And what we call these things is we call them micro investments. A lead goes through the process of giving up micro investments in order to get value from you. So micro investments are required for leads to actually progress up the value mountain. They don't just get up the value mountain just with the click of a finger. They have to be invested in the process. And by doing micro investments, they are becoming invested in the process. They might give up a little bit of money to get a resource. They might watch 20 minutes worth of your videos. They might commit to booking a call with you at this time on this specific date. That is the point of micro investments. They're doing little things to get disproportional returns. That is a really key concept that I really brushed over, but I'm going to talk about it right at this point here. Someone is giving up micro investments, but they are getting heaps of value as a return. That's what the leads are going through. You're not just giving up things for free. You don't have a free PDF downloader on your website. They have to go through a little bit of commitment. Maybe they give up their email. Maybe they send you through a text. Maybe they book in a time with you. They're giving up small investments, but they are getting substantially better returns from whatever they put in. So I'll give you 3 examples right after this paragraph. The key idea to follow is that the value that they receive completely outweighs the investment of time, of money, of commitment. The value has to completely outweigh, because what you want to do is you want to go into value debt. That is the critical term here. Value debt is essentially how you build up goodwill. You go into value debt because you give way more value than you receive back in return in the short term. You go into value debt because the value of a lead magnet, let's say, completely outweighs the cost. You could sell a book for $10 that is worth $50 in an open market. You can make a really good book that has a bunch of resources in it, that gives a bunch of advice, and that book could genuinely be worth $50, but you sell it for 10. There's two reasons why you sell it for 10. A, you getting the lead to go into value debt with you because they've received way more value than what they paid for. And B, the twofold benefit is that because you price something that is really undervalued, if you charge $10 for something that's worth $50, then it's going to get more leads into the door, because that's how supply and demand works. For a very simple explanation. If you charge way less than what it's worth, then you're going to get more eyeballs and you're going to get more people to eventually sell to in the long term. So you're building up value debt and you're essentially building up goodwill with these potential clients. And that goodwill is what's going to get your foot in the door. It's what's going to separate you from everyone else in the market. So the value of a lead magnet, it could be worth $50, but you sell it for 10. Now you might be thinking, why would I sell it for 10? Again, we don't focus on the money that we're making from this thing. This is all just this is the sunk cost of doing business. This is the sunk cost of marketing. You could have sold that book for $50, but we have a long-term vision in mind where you're going to sacrifice $40 of value and you are going to bite your tongue and you are going to watch the people come into your business. You are going to watch the students flow into your business because you've built up the goodwill with them. That is the idea behind giving disproportionate value to your clients. It is going to literally bring so many people into your door. I'm assuring you of it. It's going to bring more people than what you're getting right now. That's what I can assure you. If you implement this in your business right now, you're going to get way more people wanting to be students with you. That's just a very simple outcome that you can expect of this. Now, if you don't want to charge for anything, if you think that's too complicated, or if you think it's too complex to write a book, then you could do other things as well. You can literally make a really high quality YouTube video. And it might be 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but they get way more value than if they spent that 20 minutes just listening in class. That is the point of the YouTube video. It is such a valuable YouTube video, very similar to this one. I'm using exactly the same marketing method on you, and it does work. This is exactly what you should be doing for your clients. You should be giving disproportionate value for the amount of time that you build watching a YouTube video. It should be something where they watch that video and they go away from it thinking, oh my goodness, I literally learned so much from Adrian because he literally taught me things that I never even thought of before. He literally taught me this maths concept that I literally never even realized I could do it in that way. He walked through this example that I literally never thought I would come across, but it's really important for me to know. That should be the value that you're giving in these YouTube videos. And again, there's a twofold benefit. A, they're spending time with you. You're going into value debt with them because they're getting disproportionate return. They're getting disproportionate value from the time that they spent with you. But B, they also get a taster for what they could expect if they actually join your service. If Adrian is giving out this much for free, imagine how good it is when I actually join his paid stuff. That's what you want your clients to be thinking. That's what you want your potential students to be thinking. And that's genuinely what they think. This is something that is literally going to work. And I'm literally getting so many ideas just recording this video because there's so many things that you can implement in the tutoring space that hasn't been done before. Or maybe I did implement some of them, but no one's really replaced my space in the market. So there's such an opening for you to really implement this and implement it well. The value of a discovery call. Discovery call is essentially another way that I call a free trial, but I don't do any teaching. I just go through more strategy stuff. You could call it a strategy call. You You could call it a discovery call. I call it either one of those things. There's commitment provided. But if they literally just book in a time with you, give them their contact information, that is more than enough for them to get insanely good value on a discovery call. And hey, that's where you do the pitch. That's where you actually try to get them to join. And at that period of time, there's not going to be that much resistance, because not only have you gone into value debt, you've built up goodwill, but you've also built up trust. That is super important as well. This process builds up trust. You are not a scammer. They know that you can teach. They know that your resources are good, and there's no objection from that perspective. The biggest objection that you probably receive is that, oh, I want to try out this tutor. I want to try out this place. I have a free trial with this company next week, or it's too expensive. They're probably the main objections that you get. I want to try out this person, or I'm not sure if the quality is good, or it's too expensive. The money objection is a video for another day completely. We're going to focus on the trust perspective. If you go through this process, then you are hardly going to get that objection. And I literally never got that objection once I set up the value mountain, because you give out the resources, you show that you can teach well, and there's no reason for someone to question it. Because if you can teach well and you make a video where you have taught well, then what's the issue? There is none. And if you genuinely can teach, then you should have nothing to worry about, because you can illustrate that through a YouTube video. You can illustrate that through your YouTube videos. There should be no issues with that. Now, how do you actually get clients up the mountain, and how effective is it? Now, when we get clients up the mountain, if I just draw the mountain again, let's draw the mountain. Let's say the client starts off here, they get up to there, they go through a bunch of different steps, they get a bunch of value, and they go out to the top of the mountain. Now, essentially, each time that they go up the mountain and they get a free piece of value, this is what we call a touch point in marketing. Now, a touch point is essentially when someone gets in contact with you, either directly or indirectly. A direct way could be through a direct conversation with them. It could be through a Zoom call. Indirectly is through a video that's asynchronous. It could be through a resource that they do with you. It could be through whatever else. It could be through a post that they read of you. It could be through an email that they read from you. There's so many different ways that you can communicate indirectly with them. It still is a form of communication though. So we categorize them all as touch points. Now, some touch points might be a lot more valuable than others. For example, if you have a direct one-on-one conversation with someone, that is probably more valuable from a trust standpoint, because you're talking to them one-on-one. If you just give them out a resource or you give them out a video, not to say that it's not useful, but the touch point might not be as significant. It still is important to do though. Don't get me wrong. It still is so important to have those touch points that are asynchronous, because that has scale. You can literally have 1,000 people download your PDF. You could have tens of thousands of people watching your videos. And there's no way that you could call 10,000 people, right? Videos and social media provides us with the beautiful thing of scale, where you don't have to worry about limiting yourself. If you make a really high quality YouTube video, such as some of the videos that I made for my business, those videos kept me fed for years to come after I posted them, because I made a really high quality video at the start and it literally brought in thousands of views over time. And that's how I actually built up a lot of my following. And that's how I built up trust with my audience, because I had those videos that were there for a long period of time. They had views, I had subscribers. That built up trust and it built up authority to show, hey, I actually know what I'm talking about. Now, long story short with this graph, I'm actually not going to run through this graph too much. Long story short, if you have more touch points in your process, then your conversion rate is going to be higher. So if you just have a cold pitch with someone, if you literally do not warm them up at all, and you don't have any touch points and you don't bring them up the value mountain at all, then your conversion rate is probably going to be somewhere between 0 and 5%. It's going to be very low, because you've built up no trust, you've built up no authority, and you can't even determine if you can actually help them. It doesn't seem genuine if you just give someone a cold pitch, because how do you know that you can actually help them? You can't help everyone. There's a certain demographic or a sub part of the market that you can help, and everyone else is useless to you. That's what you should be focusing on with your marketing. And again, it's a completely other video. But if you think that you can help everyone, then you can't. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Now, if you have minimal nurturing with your process, then you probably have about 3 to 5 touch points, and you can get anywhere up until 20% conversion. Again, it's not bad, but we can get more. If you increase your touch points to 6 to 8 to 10 to 12 to 14, you're maximizing your conversion. And according to research, you can get anywhere up until 60%. Anywhere more than that, then it could be luck. It could be you're underpricing your service. But if you're getting to the 50% mark, you're in a really good position. So if you're getting about 10 to 14 touch points with your clients or with your potential clients, then they're going to be in a position where they're primed to join your service. That's a long story short. So if you start implementing the value mountain, if you start to give your clients more value, if you start to build up goodwill with your clients, you're going to build trust, you're going to build authority, and you're going to be known as someone who gives out really good value. And there's going to be a lot of people, again, that are just wanting to use you for free value. But there's going to be a small section of those people who are primed to be closed. And that is the ideal client that you want. You want people who get the value, appreciate the value, build trust with you, build a connection with you, and they want to get on board with you. They're going to be just as many people who are in that position than the people who are just getting your free value.